Well, it's an important discussion, really important discussion with, so much advancement and newer tech coming up. It's actually, totally impossible to ignore industry academia collaboration, right, Piyush? And I believe some of us are already working on it. And Piyush will be talking more on how, industry, from the industry's perspective, from the industry's lens, Piyush will be sharing some of the brighter or better ideas how we can collaborate. And as I said, this is an open discussion. We will deep dive into some of the nitty-gritties of industry academia
Yeah,
collaboration.
hi.
And I think we are all set. We are all set. Okay, so we also have, I'll ask my team. Okay, so we have another speaker who has joined us. Grima, could you please bring everyone on the screen, on the main screen, please? All right, so it's time. So hello everyone. It's always a pleasure to see so many curious minds, in the room. All right. Is anyone else joining in? No. Okay. So today's discussion, we'll get started now. Isn't just, I was the other day I was discussing internally. This discussion isn't just timely, it's actually necessary. And as a world, advances, the divide between what's taught in classrooms and what's needed on the ground is growing wider. You all would agree. And in that gap, we are at a risk of losing both innovation and talent. And that's why industry academia collaboration is no longer nice to have thing. It's actually need to have thing, or I would say a pressing priority, right? You all would agree. If we are to solve real world problems at scale, we are talking about scale. At scale, we need researchers, educators, entrepreneurs, industry leaders working not in silos, but side by side, right? And that's exactly the conversation we are starting today. So I'm Naman Kothari, your host for the session, one that brings together global leaders from academia, research, and industry, each bringing a unique perspective, right? A unique lens to how to reimagine this partnership. And to all our guests who have joined us from different parts of the globe, welcome. Today, we'll dive into important questions, important questions like how can we make academic research more application driven? The other day I was talking to Piyush. He said we should also discuss about models of collaboration that have truly worked and why and how, right? And how can we co-create a talent pipeline that's agile, industry ready, and innovation focused? So without further ado, the important conversation, today's conversation is being hosted on Open Innovator platform. It is a collaborative platform that brings together industry, innovators, institutions, investors, and inquisitive minds. It's a space where bold ideas meet real world opportunities. So let's make this count. Let's use today's session to explore what's next and start building a blueprint for future. It's now time to welcome our distinguished panel of global leaders, each bringing unique perspective to this timely and I would say very, very important conversation. First up, we are pleased to have Dr. Francis, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Research and Enterprise at the University of Cyberjaya, Malaysia. He's a visionary leader shaping impactful research and enterprise strategy across borders. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Very happy to be here.
We also have joining us next Dr. Yusuf, President at Rochester Institute of Technology, a pioneer in academic leadership who has constantly built bridges between innovation, student success, and global partnerships.
Good morning and good evening, my colleagues.
Good morning, Dr. Yusuf. Joining us next, we welcome Dr. Nicolina, acting dean at the American University in the Emirates, an insightful voice, I can tell you, on AI, ethics, and educational reforms, known for pushing boundaries and rethinking how we lead in digital world. Always a pleasure to have you, Dr. Nicolina.
Thank you so much. A pleasure to be here today.
and now bringing in much needed industry perspective, to balance out all the academic firework or firepower on this panel. We are happy to welcome Piyush Singh from India, innovation leader at CNH. Piyush is not just a good friend, but someone who's been working closely with academia to turn ideas, I would say, into real impact. He's working on some really cool use cases, which he will talk in a little while. And let's be honest, Piyush, the stakes are high today, right? Welcome.
Thank you so much, Naman, and I am so excited to be in presence of these great academic leaders. I look forward to really great informative discussions today.
All right, from now let's now go to Abu Dhabi. From Abu Dhabi University, we are joined by Professor Shireen, Associate Provost for Academic Projects and Internationalization, a champion of institutional transformation. Welcome, Shireen.
Thank you so much for the kind invitation of the Open Innovator, and also I'm very delighted and honored to be with such esteemed colleagues in this timely discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, and we are also delighted to welcome Zoe, Senior Lecturer in Education at the University of York, whose work at the intersection, of education and technology continues to, redefine language learning in really meaningful ways. Welcome, Professor Dr. Zoe. Joining the conversation next.
Sorry, my microphone wasn't working. Well, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the invitation to talk to this panel. Really interesting topic, so I really look forward to it.
Now, joining the conversation is Dr. Zoya Wasim Sheikh, Head of Professional Development Center and Assistant Professor at AI in University, a passionate academic leader committed to preparing students with real-world skills and confidence. Welcome, Dr. Zoya.
Thank you so much for having me here. Look forward to a great conversation.
Really looking forward to the good conversation ahead. And finally, we have Dr. Sophia Rahman, Project Director at CSE and IT at Mahe Dubai, a tech into educational leader enabling the next generation of engineers to innovate with purpose and agility. Welcome, Dr. Sophia.
Thank you. I'm really privileged to be on board with all the panel members and looking forward to very insightful discussions.
All right. Can we have everyone on the screen, please? Wow. Everyone, can you highlight everyone, please? Okay. So what a truly diverse and inspiring panel we have. Wow. Just take a look. Our screen has never looked more vibrant, I can tell you, filled with brilliant minds from across the continent, sectors, and perspective. Before we jump into individual perspective, let's take a moment to acknowledge something we all recognize. Despite the years of discussion, we do a lot of discussion, joint programs, MOUs, and roundtables. The gap, the crux of the matter is the gap between industry and academia still persists. You all would agree. And sometimes, it feels like we are speaking two different languages, one focused on theory and the other on results, right? But we all agree if we can bridge this divide meaningfully, the impact could be transformative and better for students, for researchers, and for innovation at large. So to set the tone for today's conversation, let's begin with foundational question, very foundational question, just to set the context, one that gets to the heart of the divide. The question is, what is that one, mindset, or I would say a mindset shift, either from the industry or from academia, that you believe is essential to truly unlock the potential of this collaboration? So Dr. Francis, we'll start with you. Let's start with your perspective on this.
Thank you very much, Naman, for the very interesting question, and I'm looking forward to the answers of also contribution of our colleagues here. The question first depends on what part of university or what area we are talking about. I think that when we are dealing with highly professional type of training, which in that I put business, I put engineering, I put medical studies and many others, then the link with the industry in general is rather obvious. for the students and also for research, which means that the question on collaborating with what we call the industry is not really the question. The question for us is more how we do it. And that's where there are lots of discrepancies between universities. The simple view is the view where we would, I mean, we all know that, where we would consider the collaboration with industry only to support our graduates, only to support our recruitment, of our graduates, and basically that's it, okay? And maybe sometimes come as guest speakers or things like this. The next level which is not easy, but that I guess we all try to reach, is a level where really we work together. That's why you will see in the literature they often talk of the difference between transactional and transformational. Okay, behind the words, what it means is that what works well in terms of mindset is when really we're able to really work together from the start of course, the definition of our programs when it's about teaching, pending our national regulators that we all have to work with, of course. But when we involve them from the start, when we define programs, and concerning research, also when we involve them from the start, when we discuss a new area of research, a new topic, or simply a much smaller part where we discuss a very specific research. So when the so-called industry, because it can be at different levels, again, between startups, larger businesses, industrial organizations, consortiums, chamber of commerce, etc., etc. There are many different types of industry to involve, but in general, when they are involved from the start, that's
Right.
when it works well.
So that's an interesting perspective. And, building on that, Professor Shreen, given your work bridging academia and industry, how do you see, this mindset shift playing out in practice?
Okay, I think this is indeed a question that at the heart of every university's leaders' agenda. If I were to identify one essential mindset shift, it would be the need for both academia and industry to embed in their culture, in their DNA, the understanding that we are not separate ecosystems, but we are co-creators who share the same objective and mission, which is to graduate the leaders of the future who are equipped with the necessary skills and knowledge in order to lead the future economy. So it is very important to know that we are partner and we are sharing the same goals and objective. I do believe that the output of the academia is the input of the industry. So we are really sharing the same values and mission, and this is something very, very, very important. I would like to say that, for example, at Abu Dhabi University, one of the strategic vision is centered on excellence, innovation, and impact. The partnerships with the industry are very instrumental in achieving all the three. By working closely with the industry, we ensure that our programs meet the highest level of or standard of excellence through collaborative innovation. We developed students solutions and we develop the skills of the students to we let them face the real world challenges as well. And by engaging deeply with our community, we maximize our positive impact. I can tell you some of the main, for examples that we do at Abu Dhabi University when it comes to bridging the gap between the industry and the academia. It should start from the beginning. For example, the programs themselves. Let's talk about curriculum and co-curriculum. The curriculum, we recently launched 19 new programs at Abu Dhabi University, and all of them are industry driven. AI, cybersecurity, digital transformation, fintech, industrial engineering, genetics, all of these considered to be programs, and who helped us in finding those programs or the necessity of having those programs, our advisory board members, because in each college, not even in each college, in each department, in each discipline, we have advisory boards from the industries who are our partners when we talk about developing new programs and so on. So this is something important. When we talk about co-curricular activities, we always involve students with different activities related to the industries. Invite guest speakers, shadowing programs, mentoring programs, and so on. We have also the internship. Recently, we enlarged the period of the internship to reach 1 year. And a lot of our students, when we provide them with the opportunity of internship, those companies hire them at the end because they found them with high quality and so on. This is part when it comes to teaching courses program, but in research also something very important. We cannot ignore the interface or the collaboration between academia and the industry when it comes to research, because who are providing the solutions to the problems of the industry? Academia are the ones who really worked on practical or empirical research, which provide the industry with real solutions for their problems. So the research grants, the innovation hubs and labs, the empirical research is also a big area of interface between or collaboration between the industry and the academia. Last, when we talk about, for example, events like conferences, forum, this type of event, even we are having right now, it's a great platform in order to raise awareness about the importance of having the industry, our partner, hand in hand, sharing the same goals and vision to, at the end, equip the future leaders with all they need to lead in the future. Thank you.
Oh, well said, Shreen, Professor Shreen. In fact, you raised some of the very critical points, right? I would love to get Piyush's take on it from the industry's perspective. But before that, would love to bring in Dr. Nicolina as someone deeply involved in education and AI. So, Dr. Nicolina, what's your take on the mindset, the mindset needed to bridge this divide that we just spoke about?
Hello, everyone. Again, great to be here with you today. When we're talking about mindset, I think that from the academia perspective, academia first needs to shift for this theoretically oriented mindset for something we have been discussing before on, in a way, how academia has been set up a few hundred years ago. And that we absolutely need to adjust and align whatever is that we are doing now in the 21st century with what should be done in 21st century. So I think this is the main gap. There, looking at I see some of us are here from business school. Again, it will be different depending on a discipline that you're coming. But I would say there is a pretty large discrepancy also when we're coming from the business school between theoretical knowledge that is presented in the classrooms and the practice in industry, considering that I'd say at least 60-70% of professors at business school never had any practice in industry. They're coming straight forward from the universities, they're teaching from the universities, and there is no practical experience. We are focused on theory, on big books. I mean, we all know how we finish our schools and how we finish our studies. So this is this, I'd say, old model, and this old model will not work now. What I would say, what is the mindset shift that needs to be there? I think this mindset shift needs to go towards co-creation. co-creation with industry, listening to industry, what they have to say, what they have to give, not bringing them for 1.5 hour guest lecture and then we check a box and then we're going to say, wow, look what they did. We are doing so much industry collaboration. That's not it. We need to listen. We need to hear what is it that they need, and not to go out of this model, academia, we are preparing, the final product, and then there is industry will take this final product. I'm sorry, our final product is not really good for some time now. And it's not really prepared for the real world for some time now. So we need to recheck and redefine what actually are we doing and how we are going to do it, to have, as I mentioned, the collaboration and co-creation in curriculum development, to have mentorship, to have research that is really, I think Professor Shireen mentioned, the real world research, something that is practical, something that is not going to be published somewhere where no one's going to read it ever in a life. So all those things, but all those things goes into core of academia. And another thing is, I always like to share, we have those industry advisory boards. I think we all have them at the universities. And we have amazing group of people and practitioners here from the region and worldwide. And one of the suggestions that we received last year on one of our advisory boards that I found fascinating, I would love if any university would implement this. One of them said, you know what you should do? You should actually send your professors to internship. It's like, what do you mean? Yes, you should send your professors, because they should go work for 6 months in a company, work 6 months in industry to actually understand what is it that we are looking for and what is needed for graduates. So I think that's we need basically shared communication, shared co-creation to shift from the traditional model to something that would be new when we are talking about mindset shift.
Well, very interesting take, and thank you, Dr. Nicolina. So, Piyush, what do you think? I think it's not, starting internship for the professors.
But let me just begin by saying it's great to listen, Dr. Nicolina, and happy to see that we are resonating in a way. Let me begin. You started with the mindset shift and you started talking about what is the gap. Let me just talk about, am I audible properly?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm from industry, so let me talk about slight gaps that we as an industry have. Some of the industry would do that, and then let me just be very honest about it. Some of the industry considers academia as your yet another vendors. No, that's not the case, and that's very, very important to understand. And that's the most important mindset shift that I think every industry should have. They are your strategic partners. You have to have a long-term association with them, thinking what is the outcome that we want to produce in several years. It's not just 1 month or 2 months. I'm sure there will be some spikes there. We are an industry. Times we need, good talents urgently. There are times we need the product to be out very soon. But then what is that you are together with? What is that you're trying to solve? And this is something I feel is an important mindset shift. That's one. Second, let me again call out the elephant in the room, the IP. Who owns the intellectual property? I think that's the bigger discussion that keeps happening. And I can say, industry at times is very, very hard bound to it. They don't want to let it go. That's again something, if you think, and that's the challenge, because going to the point number one, they feel that academia as our vendors. Why do we share that? When we start thinking them as partners, you will always feel like, no, why can't we have those together? Why can't we both benefit? Why can't we have, joint filings? I mean, when the industry will have these kind of, mindset shift, I think it'll be amazing for both the industry and the academias. But again, I kind of have at the same point what Dr. Nicolina said, and as an industry, it's very important, even for the academia, to understand the industry reaches out to the academia to solve some problems. Is there a problem that you can solve for me? And can you take a product not just which is good, but it is, it is product ready, which we can release in the market? Can the academia lift themselves up? It's not just the research that we are good. We can actually help you out to take some product out. We can actually solve a problem for you. Like you mentioned, if it is an MBA people, can you solve a strategy problem for me? It's not just a good research or a data that you give us. So I think this is the gap that we see on both the sides. One is the industry has to start taking, the academia as a partner, not worry too much about the IPs, think long term. And academia has to start thinking, okay, we are the problem solvers. I mean, you are creating great future leaders. I'm sure you have those capability to do that. It is just about, you bring us the problem and we are there. And you'll see more confidence in industry reaching out to you.
Absolutely. Very well said. You are actually creating future leaders. On that note, I see Dr. Yusuf on the screen. Dr. Yusuf, we are pleased and we are honored to have you with us. We will now bring you to the discussion. Actually, we have a pretty diverse and broad panel today. So every perspective is equally important. Dr. Yusuf, from your leadership role in Innovation Focus Academia, what mindset change would you like to highlight today?
Thank you, Naman. Actually, this idea of having silos between schools and university and industry has been really not helping us at all, even going back to schools. The gap was manageable before AI and the new development. You graduate students, maybe the company can train them for a while and they will be able to manage. Now the gap is accelerating, and if you don't prepare your students, definitely they will not be able to catch up. So the idea is really we need to create an ecosystem, as mentioned by Dr. Shireen, an ecosystem not only in the curricula. Actually, what we did at RIT Dubai is we removed the gates. We don't have gates to the university. And even we said, look, we are going to invest in this partnership. So if there is a great story between an industry and us, we give them core and shell. For example, HP, we came and we realized that gaming is $160 billion business, and we don't have in this region people who are able to create games. There are people who can play games, but creating games, storytelling for health and coding and all of that is not applicable. So we said, okay, why don't we open an HP gaming garage? And we gave them the space free. And we said, okay, you build it. And we create content together, and we train our students, we train industry, we train schools and so on. And this is an example. For example, one of the public departments, which is the identity department at the government of Dubai, we told them, why don't you have your innovation center in our campus? So imagine the government man the government is inside the campus itself. So the idea is you create an actual ecosystem and you invest in it. So many people at other universities look, but this space is very dear. If I give it to them, then I cannot have a classroom. That's fine. Maybe having that partnership is much better than having a classroom as such. The other way is the curricula itself. The way we did it at RIT Dubai, the moment students, they join the program, regardless what they study, we teach them AI, and we teach them the 17 SDG goals, and we tell them innovation is going to be a journey. So what they do, right, we don't give a course in innovation. We make it as part of the curricula. So we choose courses in the curricula. We call them the innovation nodes. So in some courses, we teach them the material, but we teach them, for example, ideation, design thinking, prototyping. Then we tell them, now you go and do your co-op. Our co-op is very long, it's 1 year. And not only co-op, I mean, the classical one, they go and work with industry, but another one, if you want to build your company, we are going to consider this to be your co-op, and we are going to bring people from industry to help you in building your company. And that's why we have 40 students, they build their companies. Some of them started in Dubai, and now they are operating in the Silicon Valley in America. And in addition to that, we teach them how to become consultant with industry. And then after that, we tell them go and work like PwC people with the supervision of our faculty. And let me mention, our faculty, they come from industry. IBM, they teach the first data analytic course. Orange, they teach digital transformation for us. So they are already teaching and designing the curricula with us, and we are investing on that. And when they go and do the co-op and come back, we start teaching them the entrepreneurship skills. How do you do financial analysis? How do you, and so on. And when they graduate, they are ready for the companies they are going to join, but at the same time, they can build their own company and add diversifying the economy. So let me summarize by saying it is nice to talk about it, but without any real actual investment. Now, that investment could be money, it could be time, it could be thinking, it could be creation, it could be space. We will keep rotating in the same cycle. So the idea, what we are doing here, although we are doing gradual steps, but they are really concrete gradual steps, and we measure. If anything you do, you don't have any measurement, you will not be able to control it, you will not be able to manage it. And that's why we are measuring every aspect of this journey with industry. And we have so many industries. I would say we have 100 strategic partners who are really doing business with us, to business and creating new technologies, new solutions in the community.
Well, 100 strategic partners, well, that's a number, and number speaks for itself. Well, thank you for those pointed statement, Dr. Yusuf. And with this, we'll now move to London to Dr. Zoe. Dr. Zoe, from an educational standpoint, what change in mindset do you think are most critical to foster, better collaboration? Dr. Zoe, you're on mute if you're speaking.
Hello, sorry about that. There seems to be a delay with the microphone here. Anyway, thank you. Yeah, really interesting conversation, and I would echo a lot of things that have been said. I think in terms of thinking, so I'm from an education department, and in terms of the industry academia collaboration, one of the things that we're doing at York is we've recently launched a master's in artificial intelligence and technology enhanced learning. So the driver for this is both to upskill teachers, professionals who are looking to incorporate these technologies into their teaching, but also from the other perspective to, I'm hoping long term that the program might attract sort of people already working in industry, students with a background in technology, to bring that understanding of educational context, of theory, but also of educational context to the design of apps for learning, whether that be in schools, so in K-12 schools, or whether that be in universities. So historically, when I've been to trade fairs in the UK and you talk to leading tech providers, they were unable to talk about evidence for learning, and they were unable to talk about the pedagogical principles that underpin those technologies. So this is very much driven by a need to bridge that gap. And I would hope long term we'd be able to attract stakeholders from all different backgrounds, so people with a background in education as well as a background in technology, so that students they have those networks from their program that they can then take forward into their future career. If I was going to talk about a mindset change, I'd actually say it's not about academia and industry. It's about teachers, it's about learners, it's about their needs, it's about the context on the ground, and that too often we've got a technology. So I've heard people talking about solutions and problems. What we've got is a solution that's in search of a problem. And I think a fundamental mind shift needs to be thinking about the needs of the educational context on the ground, rather than saying, well, you've got a race to be. I completely understand what people are saying in context of business, that we need to equip our graduates for the AI world, but that's slightly different to thinking about how technology can be used to help our children learn, or how to help our students learn. And there we need to be talking to the educators, we need to be talking to the learners to understand what they actually need, rather than just giving them what the technology can do.
Well, that's a pretty interesting take. We would love to deep dive more on all these points on the round two. I would say now, may I please invite Dr. Zoya. Dr. Zoya, thank you for patiently waiting. This is a broad panel, as you can see. Considering your dual experience in academia and professional development, right? What mindset shift is often, overlooked, but I would say very crucial?
Thank you. I've been patiently waiting and, of course, very interestingly listening to my fellow co-speakers. Everyone has shared amazing views, which is actually, eye-opening for us to look into all these different directions and their different mindsets. According to me, I would like to share that there is the biggest difference that is a traditional difference is that it is believed that academia means theory, and when it comes to industry it's practice, so it's like theory and practical. So there's a big gap. What we focus more on academia is the marks, grades. It has a fixed curriculum. And when it comes to the industry, what matters more is about the creativity, the achievements, how do you adapt to changes, and what do you bring to the table. So these are the major differences. I talk about the theory and practice. So definitely there is already a lot that is already being done to have a mindset shift and to, what do you say, the major shift is actually happening now. I would say one of the biggest shifts that I see in AI adoption is in UAE. The government has already mandated adoption of AI into school curriculums. And of course, so have the universities also already adopted. And I'm sure almost all the universities have AI in their course structure, in their courses, they even have specializations in AI. So one shift which can actually bridge this particular theory and practice gap, I feel, is that there should be collaboration, deep collaboration in mentorships from the industry for the academia. And this should not be just kind of 60 minutes or 90 minutes workshops and sessions with the industry, but these should be long-term collaborations where industry people must take interest and they must consider a group of students whom they are going to mentor for a long term. They would mentor and they should be responsible to create what they want to see in the future in their own industry. So this is one of the biggest mindset shift that can happen. And I
No,
think, yeah, this
well
is.
said, well
Yeah.
said. And I could, I completely agree with your point. AI is the need of the hour, I believe, right? We do a lot of sessions, Dr. Zoya, we keep hearing that will AI take our jobs? So I always tell them, yes, AI will take the jobs, but only boring jobs, right? AI will make you smarter, right? AI is
Yes.
not there to take each and every job, but yes, boring, mundane jobs. But at the same time, it will make you smart. All right. On that note,
Can I
yes,
just
please,
add
please go
one?
ahead. Please go ahead, Srini.
I'll quickly, because I know we're running
Yeah.
out of time. Just quickly, I want to make a quick note that I think you all know that the world is changing dramatically right now. Even academia, there are major changes in the academia right now. So I think the universities or the education system who will not cope with those changes, they will lose. They will be left behind. If we will not partner with the industry and we offer industry driven programs needed by the market, we, those universities will lose students, will lose enrollment, will lose a lot of things. So partnership with industry is not a luxury. It is something essential and something a must. Otherwise, we will be very back. Thank you so much.
No, well said, well said. And finally, Dr. Sophia, your perspective, at Manipal, Dubai, what mindset adjustment has made the biggest difference in fostering collaboration? Dr. Sophia.
Well, thanks, Naman. It was really interesting to hear all the panel members, speak out the best practices. Well, I think if I have to kind of what I've gathered, and I think all of us would agree on this, is we're all looking at mutual value creation. So that's technically what we're looking at. Having said that, there's another aspect I would like to add to it is, we're dealing with students. We're dealing with students, youngsters who have a lot of energy and they only need to be oriented to channelize it. So, having said that, there are certain practices, because when you're always looking at an industry academia, we always say, yes, we need to bridge the gap. And this is something which we've been talking about for years now, and probably bringing in policies and strategies to overcome and bridge the gap. Something which we do practice is Of course, curriculum is important. As academicians, I'm sure we all agree to it, and that's the base on which the students would build. So, having said that, what we try out here and what we practice here at the School of Engineering and IT, and likewise other schools at Mahe Dubai, is that we try to give value added. Industry related certifications, courses, where students are free to, they as in what I'm trying to say is there are opportunities for students to, kind of enroll for these. And then, you're kind of upskilling yourself. That's one thing. That's one way of trying to get them in terms of industry ready or industry preparedness, that you can say. The second aspect, what we felt has really worked in, because see, all of us invite industry experts. We have industry advisory board members. They do share, give us a very valuable feedback in terms of the curriculum, in terms of where the industry is heading to, and always. And of course, industry is more, I would say, market driven innovation. It's more on that front. So having said that, so what we kind of try to practice is now, when we want our students to take things very seriously, because just getting them upskilled is not enough. What they really need to be aware of is how to handle when they are in that environment. That's equally important. So that's where, we one practice we have is, besides of course inviting other industry experts, we invite our own alumni who are at different cadres in the industry, because of course they are also passionate about. And when someone comes and says, hey, I was sitting there, a few years back, I was there one amongst you, and today I'm here, and this is what is my journey. So that somewhere down the lane, that kind of tickles something in there, leaves a lasting impression. Oh, okay, I think there's something, a change I need to bring about, because we all are putting in a lot of effort to in terms of upskilling our students, trying to get them industry ready. But from a student front, even there, or at their front, a preparedness has, a push has to come, I would say rather. So
Right.
that's something I feel which is equally important. I feel that's equally
Right.
important. This is something which we kind of practice. Another thing, one of the panel members was talking about industry mentors. So we do have a practice, our own alumni are our industry mentors. So they mentor our students when they get into, the second year. I'm talking about engineering in particular, when they get into the second year of the program. So we kind of tie them up based on their interest with mentors,
Right.
where they kind of do a, you can say a shadow guidance or whatever. So, you can always get back to someone. Yes. And another thing is talking about internship. Yes, I think if someone's ready to offer me an internship, probably I'll go on board to
So
experience. That's something, yeah, I always look forward to.
we,
Well, what we try to do, in that prospect, I would say is we try to get small industry-based projects, which we do in campus. And this is not associated with a curriculum. Students who are interested, depending on the kind of the domain they are interested in. Yes. So we do have our industry connects, like, there's some, yeah, they want some chatbots to be, developed
right.
for certain purposes. Yes. So
Right.
rather than them doing it and their employees getting engaged. So what happens is now when our students interact with them, oh, what's your requirement? So technically you have done software engineering, but when it actually comes to doing something, their requirement analysis goes in a very different way. Yes, so that's these are
Absolutely.
certain, yeah, these are certain things that we
No,
try to, we practice on campus here. Yeah.
right. So we could not agree more with you on this. In fact, thank you for all these valuable perspective. And it's, one thing is clear that shifting mindset is the foundational, and we have set a strong stage for our deep dive today. And I just got a message from my team that we are getting a lot of requests in the chat from the attendees. The panel is already very insightful, and they are requesting how can they connect with our panelists. So may I request all our panelists to, whenever you get time, please drop your LinkedIn profile links or any contact email ID so that our attendees can connect with you and take the
Definitely.
discussion forward. So that was a powerful start, I would say, some great thoughts and a clear call for change. And now as we move to round two, let's go a bit deeper. And this round is where we'll bring the conversation closer to your own lived experiences. It will be personal, your insight, your stories, and your unique vantage points. These next few questions are personalized and are crafted based on your journey in mind. And so let's begin. I'll bring in Dr. Yusuf first. Dr. Yusuf, leading, innovation focused universities surely provide unique lessons that I can understand. If academia wants to stay, uh, genuinely relevant to industry, what's one thing they must change today?
I think, this idea of doing very intentional communication and coming together is very important. You don't know what you don't know. And many people in the industry, they feel that why should I go to the university and maybe there is no benefit, and they just skip the idea. But if they go and spend some time with the academia, they will find, oh, I can solve many of these problems. The students, they will be ready. I can train them and I can, and etc. And the same thing with our faculty. Some of our faculty still would have this mindset that we know what people they need. We close the door, we give the curricula, and we are the best people who tell people what to do. And suddenly they fail the student because you are not trained in the industry. You don't know maybe industry what needs. I think the communication together is very important. And that's why creating an ecosystem, but physical ecosystem, not just only coming together in order to see. And maybe it will take time. Don't rush it. I mean, if a journey needs to have time, give it the time it needs, because otherwise it will end up with frustrations, with dreams rather than actual implementation. When we started at RIT Dubai, most of what we are discussing here, colleagues, was a dream. It was not realistic. Who cares? Parents, they don't want their kids to spend 1 year in co-op because they would like them to finish and find a job, but actually they will not find a job. They will just sit home looking for a connection to find them jobs. At the same time, industry, they feel, look, if I would like to invest, I don't want to invest at the university because I have other things to invest on. But the moment they come to the university, maybe there is no investment. It could be co-investment and so on. So my message is, let it be what it is. Let the time take its time, but communicating more. So as leaders, I think every day we have to ask ourselves, did we add another partner today to the ecosystem? It could be a student, it could be an industry, it could be a government, and you have to measure it every month. Who is really now joining in board?
A very compelling point, Dr. Yusuf. Did we add another partner today? Well, I think relevance is the key in the era of rapid industry transformation. And now speaking of transformation, Dr. Nicolina, you have been at the forefront of embedding AI into education, right? So from where you stand, what's the single most critical change institution must make to prepare students for an AI-driven future?
The most critical thing, I mean, there are many things that should be on the plate. And again, when we are talking about institution, we cannot, there is no one size fits all system, because we are coming from different disciplines, and of course, depending on a discipline, then approach would differ. One thing, as you were mentioning, for me, for example, as a marketing professor, for me, it was not that hard to, for example, personally integrate a lot of AI tools, a lot of things in teaching and learning. But maybe for some other discipline, it might be a little bit more challenging. What is the point here, institutional wise? Is that things are happening now, and this is completely normal because the technologies are new and you have early adopters. Early adopters would probably push some of the things earlier, but what we need is a top-down approach. What we need is a strategic approach. It has to come from the university. University needs to have, I don't know, a strategy, or someone, maybe vice president, that would be dedicated only to AI and AI implementation. Then out of that, it should be branching into teaching and learning for sure, but also into all other, into services, into stakeholder relationship, as we were discussing with industry. So all throughout, AI cannot be ignored anymore. Are we talking about generative AI? Are we talking about predictive AI models that can be extremely helpful for different levels and different things that we are doing at university? Looking from the student perspective and focusing on teaching and learning, I think one very important thing, again, this is also something of, let's say, my own perspective, is that over time, we will need to learn to use AI more as a collaborator and less as a tool. So more as a something, I would say, entity, something that you will collaborate with, that you will co-create with, that you will learn from interactions. Because what we are witnessing in a very short period of time is huge development. This development, I mean, it will grow and grow over time. So this growth mindset is also something that needs to be embedded in students, and not to be afraid and not to approach those tools only as a tools, but something that can provide them really, really some comprehensive opportunity for growth, for learning, and for co-creation.
No, wise words. We should see AI as a collaborator, not as a just a mere tool. Very wise words. So thank you, Dr. Nicolina. It's clear that bold change in institutions will be the backbone of future-ready education. So Dr. Francis, with research and enterprise now more I would say, what do I say, intertwined than ever. We are actually curious. What do you see as a cornerstone of building an innovation-driven academic ecosystem within the universities?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and as the other colleagues have mentioned, obviously it's very different depending on the country and the type of university. I will give you a very clear example. Our research assessment system here in Malaysia rewards, of course, publications. So this is the one set up by our ministry, rewards publications, but is also rewarding patents, prototypes, licensing, etc., etc. Which means that definitely to be well rated as a university in the Malaysian ecosystem, it's not only about research, but also about patent, and this one has direct link, obviously, with the industry ecosystem. One other point which is very important and which is not linked to the industry itself is inside the university at first, you need as much as possible to break the silos. If the different faculties of schools cannot work together, you cannot expect them to work with the industry, to work with startups, to work with entrepreneurs, etc., etc., etc. So I think it's very important to break the internal silos before you even do anything else. And then, I mean, as many of my colleagues have mentioned, it's all about bringing the industry in the class, I mean, in the university, and bringing the university in the industry. On our side, bringing the industry into the university, obviously, we use lots of mentors, advisory boards were mentioned, innovation hubs. We organize all sorts of events, like I guess many of my colleagues are doing, also hackathons and all these type of things. The idea being to again to collaborate with the industry and to make sure that this type of collaboration has the maximum impact. So I think that it's very important if we want to build a proper ecosystem. And of course, you have all the support system that some of you also have mentioned, incubators and et cetera, et cetera. But I think really the point is that as much as we can, we need to integrate both. And while it is relatively easy in, for example, business studies or engineering studies, it is a bit more difficult in other disciplines. So again, as one colleague mentioned, not one size fits all.
Insightful perspective yet again on especially on the foundation of innovation within the academia, right? On that note, let's bring Professor Shreen into the discussion, whose work brilliantly bridges sustainability and business innovation. So Shreen, in this rapidly evolving you can say tech landscape, or the overall landscape, what's one concrete step universities can take to make sure their graduates are not just employable but truly industry ready, that Piyush can easily hire?
Before answering this important question, I don't know my colleagues who are working in the UAE, did you see the new ministry framework? The ministry is putting a lot of weight on employability rate. And I think this is a big directions for all universities to really take care of the employability, that the programs are industry driven, what we can do for our students in order to make them employable. Maybe aligning our programs with professional certifications like IMA, CMA, CPA, and so on. So I think employability is something really important, and shedding light of even the ministry in the new framework. A lot of it is giving to the employability rate and the employability of the different universities. To answer your question about, from my point of view, one of could be the impactful, two impactful could be actions, the innovation labs, which universities can make in order to involve the students really in problems and real industry challenges and problems, and they can be mentored by both faculty and industry professional. We're seeing really very remarkable solutions emerge from this collaboration. This is something very important, and we tried it at Abu Dhabi University. The second point, we came up with something that we call the IEP, or the Industry Engagement Program. We did it at Abu Dhabi University a few years ago, and now we have more than 2,000 professionals and industry experts joining this program, which we organize brown bag seminars. We invite them for dinner. We give them access to our library. We share best practices and knowledge. You know, all of these actions and activities really are excellent in order to bridge the gap between the industry and academia. And I would like to say one final word. I mentioned it before, that if the universities and the academia will not go hand in hand with the industry, they will be left behind. Thank you so much.
Very well said. Wise words on that note, Piyush. From your vantage point in industry, what's one thing you wish academia understood better? Be very honest when it comes to, shaping future ready talent.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let me first build on what Dr. Sherin said. One, it is very important that the universities and the industry has to come together. Talking about AI, I think because it is focused on this, it is a rapid change. I think none of us were ready for this. It has suddenly come at a astounding speed. It is a challenge and also an opportunity for all of us, to keep pace, to upskill and be ready for it. And this is where, academia and industries are going to be together, because, we don't know what is going to happen next 4 or 5 years. What is the requirement? So unless we are in touch, it is going to be a surprise for all of us, when the students are out of it. And this is what something, we have been also doing. To answer your question, Naman, one of the important thing that, we as an industry would expect is the students to be ready, real world ready. That's the most important thing that we are looking currently. I'll give you from our own examples. We have got our project teams. One of the, key questions that used to come to us was, we hired these students from, really premium institutes, good GPAs, but, it takes around a year or them to, settle in and start actually delivering. A lot of time goes in training, and sometimes we don't have that amount of time. So I think we picked that up, and one of the premium institutes in India, IIT Indore, Naman, you would know. That's one of our key partners where we do a lot of hiring. We said we're not just going to be mentors here or provide internship. Why don't we co-create curriculums together, for the MTech students? And this is what we did. We brought in the real world challenges that you're facing, started working with them, and these are the curriculum that they're solving, and it has really helped us out. When the student is out, when they hire them and they're in the industry, joining our company or any other similar company, they feel at home. They know these are the problems we have solved. These are the things we have really worked. So that's I think is important. We have to not just take it like I talked in the starting, it's a partnership. We need to start from the very grassroots level, and that's where the results will start flowing, in 2 years or 4 years times. So that's what I feel like.
So there you have it. Very important point, Piyush. Industry insight is critical for closing the gap and accelerating innovation. Very well said. So building on this, Dr. Zoe, I see you making notes of all the important pointers, right? So my question to you is, as AI reshapes education, the need for, new education becomes critical. Beyond technical upskilling, what mindset shift do educators need to embrace to stay ahead? You're mute.
Yeah, it's taking a while to unmute. Thank you. Yeah, I've been making notes. Really, it just all so many really important points. That we need AI leads in higher education institutions, because there are so many different ways in which AI can support institutions to deliver high quality education that creates those graduates that support industry, and also breaking down the silos. So I actually teach interdisciplinarily a module about supporting interdisciplinarity, but I think there's a gap there as well. But in terms of your question about mind shifts in terms of educators, I mean, I personally would argue that it's the wrong question. I think that's a question that places educators, suggests that they're in deficit, that they're not open to the potential of technology. I think we need to take a shift in that's not one that's so deterministic. So historically, an AI is the same. Technology industry tends to have quite a deterministic influence, in the sense that we're all talking about how our students need to be upskilled with these new skills, prompt engineering, whatever it might be, that's associated with AI. But actually, we also need to think about what's valuable for their learning, what are the needs of learners and teachers on the ground. So for me, the fundamental shift actually needs to be bringing the educators into the debate. So if you look at, so I know some elements of the AI industry will be developing AI apps for education. In terms of that, there is already, certainly in the UK, there are sort of ventures coming out of universities that are designed to upskill industry in research, in academic research, to understand how it works and vice versa. They talk about there being a golden triangle, that it's researchers, industry, and the end users, so teachers and learners. But we're not seeing that engagement with teachers and learners. So what we need to be looking at is those kinds of initiatives. And someone mentioned funding earlier. Funding is critical here. Even in small scale projects, it's really challenging to get teachers involved. So from my perspective, but also when I've talked to colleagues in industry who want to engage teachers to help support the iterative design of their projects. So it's about thinking about collaborating, investing money in teachers to free up their time, because they don't even have time to think about this themselves, let alone contribute to your research, to our research, and to helping industry create solutions that fit their needs, so fit the needs of the market.
Very well said, bringing the educators into the debate, and that's what we try to do today. So thank you, nicely put. Dr. Zoya, I would like to bring in you now. You earlier touched upon the, bringing AI and education together. So my question to you is, what's one surprising myth, you think both academia and industry hold about each other? This is very important and critical. And how can breaking that myth unlock new possibilities?
Okay, I will talk about individual myths in academia and in industry. Right now, we are relatively new to AI. Still, it's been old, but still it's relatively new. It's highly debatable today. The biggest myth, I would say, I would start with the industry first, is industry believes that people are replaceable with AI. People are actually in the fearful situations in the industry where they believe that they can soon be replaced with AI practices, or probably there could be high amount of job losses when AI is into picture. So,
Yes.
which I believe, AI is like an add-on to. It's like a, what do you say? It's a boon to us. It's like a blessing that has come to us, which is actually enhancing the creativity. It's not killing creativity, but it's adding our own creativity, and we are getting something as an add-on, as a star. So the people who have these replacement doubts, that kind of a misconception, it's very true that AI is here to stay with us. If we do not update with AI, then definitely the person will be replaced with the talent who's
Right.
highly professional and updated with AI. So that's the only thing replaceable. The people who do not upgrade themselves are
Right.
replaceable. So this is one of the biggest myths in the industry. And when we talk about academia, this is I would say very highly debatable, because in
Mhm.
academia, it's initially, I would say, when AI was very new, maybe the launch of ChatGPT,
Right.
the students were being controlled by the teachers for not using AI for their assignments or for their projects, or not searching for things. We were not ready to embrace it, or we were not ready for this kind of big drastic change. So, but today, as time passes, we let the
Right.
students use it, but at
Right.
the same time, we also see to it that we practice it ethically, and
Hmm.
not, what do you say, mispractice with the
Correct.
existence of
Correct.
AI.
So,
So,
all right.
ethical
So,
awareness is very important, both the places in industry or academia. So, ethical practices of
no,
AI, which is
ethical.
definitely we are going to learn furthermore. It's still new to
Res-
us.
Responsible use of AI,
Yes,
right, right.
yes.
Breaking misconceptions can indeed open door to, fresh collaborations, as you said it. All right. Finally, Dr. Sophia, Piyush keep telling us exciting things coming out of, Manipal, Dubai. So, my question to you is, is there an AI academic collaboration story that surprised you, or something unexpected that happened when innovation and education came together?
Let me put it this way. Yeah, when you look at innovation and education coming together in terms of AI, so recently we had the Dubai AI Week, and then, we had students going ahead and participating in hackathons and, winning awards. Likewise, we had some of them going and showcasing their capstone project ideas, to the industry. So, one specific thing that we felt like, when you're doing an in-house project, so definitely, rather let me put it this way, you're doing a capstone project, and then it's where it's the one of my colleagues is the one who was mentoring it, and there's another project of mine which is also getting mentored. So technically, we felt, yeah, it is the solution. It is going to be the solution because we looked at all perspectives of how AI can be, applied. We did a very thorough gap analysis and, everything from that front. Well, of course, again, as we say, we are academicians at the end of the day. So from an industry's eye, yes, things when they look at it, definitely, it's definitely different. So having said that, so that was a great opportunity for our students where they actually went and they have,
Right.
projected and presented their ideas. And when the feedbacks came in, so they were like, oh, even we ourselves, we were like, yeah, it was there at the back of their minds. But then again, we never thought it is such an integral
Right.
part that needs to be, that's something which really I feel is very much required. So
Correct.
probably I don't know, but maybe some practice going down the lane would be, when we have these evaluation assessments for our projects, so we normally the practice here is we
Right.
invite industry at the back end when everything's
Right.
already done. Yeah, when the prototype is ready. So yeah, but I think one good practice would be to invite them early as well.
All
So
right.
that's
So
something which I felt,
very
when
interesting.
when our students went in and
Right.
they and of course myself, my colleague over there with it, yeah, we never thought about this. So that's where it came from. If you're engaging them
Right.
early, the
Right.
feedback, so that goes into this, it goes in right at that moment when the seed is being laid, and then from there probably yes. So definitely once we
No,
get that point, then questions will come up, and
very interesting point. Very
yeah,
interesting point, Dr. Sophia.
and I think I agree with Dr. Zoya is ethics. Yes, ethics is, because today, even if like, most of them, you say, okay, send me an email. So it's nothing, it's chat GPT generated. Yeah. They're very good at using technology, far better than us, I would
I'm
say.
sure the next
The
generation is
time we
pretty
would
smart.
take,
Yes,
probably they would take a much lesser time.
right,
And they have the knackness to, kind of hover around it and, get
right.
what all let me put it this way, the way we cannot exploit, they would better exploit it. That's the way I
The,
can say. But yeah, ethics is very important at the end of the day, and it's very important to make them understand that, otherwise we know what's going to happen to the younger generation. That really worries. Will they be able to write an email tomorrow if asked to, if the chat GPT is down? Is a fundamental
right.
question sometimes,
That
Yeah.
that's very
Very
scary as
important.
well.
Yes,
Right,
it
right.
is really
So,
scary.
Piyush, when the discussions are interesting and engaging, we actually, lose track of time. And today was one such day. It's almost time. But before we wind up, I have one last question for all of you. I would, if you can quickly answer it. We will start with Piyush. Piyush, if all of us, can we have all our panelists on the screen, please, for one last time? So, Piyush, let's say if all the panelists that you see on the screen, starting from Dr. Nicolina, Shreen, Professor Francis, Joya, everyone, Joe, if we were to meet again 2 years from now, what one visible change, big or small, would tell us that industry academia collaboration has truly shifted from intent to impactful action? This is an open question for all. We'll take Piyush first.
Important question, Naman, and I think it's a crux of everything that we have been discussing so far. If you take a time machine, go 2 years down the line, I think I would like to see, the industry and the academia being hands on hand in a way which is unfortunately which is not there currently. Whenever there is a thought of new development from the grassroots level, the industry need to start thinking from their research, from that point. That's the most important thing. But I think most important thing would be we all, both industry and academia, start thinking we rather than me. I think that's the most important thing I can say, which is always there. Any MOU signing takes such a long time. I can tell you with my experience. That's because we are discussing each line by line item, saying we can't do this because there is no we there. But this is getting better. That's a good news. Because there is a need. We both understand there is a need. There is an interdependence which is there. So I think 2 years down the line, I want to see those industry-ready talent, which we can just pick it and we can be on the ground very soon. We want to see those innovation hubs actually there. We talked about grants. I think grants flowing both the way. I think as of now, there are times when university also have the grant. You want to keep it to yourself. Let's have those partnerships, and at the same time, industry, use it, the best of the talent which is there, which is ready to prove itself. I mean, all these together, I see that word.
Right.
And also because because time is running short, there is a lot of important conversation that I wanted to have with all of you. Time short, maybe I'll reach out to you one-on-one through LinkedIn or something.
Correct.
I want to build
We'll
this. I
take
want to
this
build this. Yeah.
conversation forward. Dr. Zoe, quickly, what do you think after 2 years from now? Where do you see? I think it's still mute. Yes. Anyone else would like to come in? 2 years from
I
now.
I think it would be, we would be looking at more co-creating products, patents, and kind of looking at, some kind of deployed outcomes where it's a win-win situation at the end of the day. I think that's where we're heading towards. Yeah. Industry has the idea, we
Correct.
have the mindset and the, and I think the the talent that can be groomed. I think definitely it should be achievable.
Right.
Sure.
Very wonderful. Dr. Zoe, we see you unmute now. What's the key sign of success you would hope to see?
So solutions that meet the needs of the end user. So I agree with the co-creation, but I see the solutions as coming from all parties. So from the end users as well as industry, facilitated by academics.
Perfect. Shreen, what's your vision for a tangible change that reflects real collaboration?
Um, a lot, maybe we can say joint design curricula, we can say innovation hub and labs, we can say also patterns, we can say
Patents,
we
very
can measure
important
it
these
by
days.
employability rates, um, uh, a lot of at least the culture should change and the mindset in 2 years. It will be a great achievement. Thank you.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Dr. Francis.
Yeah, I think I will end with the same word as I started. I think it's all about impact and recognized impact. I think that if there is a metric and impact again all the ways and impact on all stakeholders, so not only on the industry but also on the society at large, and that's a way to for me that's the main way to measure now or in 2 years if what we are doing makes sense or not.
Perfect, perfect. Dr. Nicolina, what would you point to as evidence that we are moving the needle in preparing students for the AI-driven future, as we say it?
Well, I think when academia is ready and when academia is preparing plug-and-play graduates that can literally go to job market and do the work and understand what are the practical parts and practical perspectives of the work, that we can say that we succeeded. And if we have enough integrated this co-creation, innovation labs, all the things that colleague mentioned already, if this is integrated in a systematic way, this would be the outcome. Because we need to look, as Dr. Shireen mentioned, like now there is in the UA specifically this outcome related framework, and the outcome, the ultimate outcome is ready student graduate that is ready to step into his or her role without need for 6 months or 1 year of additional training on top of what they already received in the academia.
Right, right. And Dr. Yusuf, from your leadership standpoint, what change should we be celebrating in 2 years?
Well, the good thing is we have many people that talk about there is a need of bridging the gap between industry and university. And the bad thing is we have many people that talk about bridging the gaps between industry and tech. So I feel in 2 years there are 3 things I hope. The first one is we don't have any more panel discussion on the necessity of having this. The second one is we have a measurement, as mentioned by the professor before, that we could really have measure where are we stand, and whether it's the economy, employability, and all of that. So at least we can have a dashboard. Are we moving in the right direction? And the last thing is an invitation to our colleagues from other universities. I think we should really integrate between each other in order to serve the university better, and we complement each other into this.
Very well said. Dr. Zoya, over to you. Please sum it up for us.
I am along with Dr. Yusuf, what he just said. 2 years from now, AI adoption will no longer be a topic of discussion. It'll be a lifestyle. It'll be a part of our lifestyles, and there is no question about adopting or not adopting AI into our practice. Actually, adopting AI is not an option, but it is a mandate. And if I tell you more precisely, productivity wise, 2 years from now, I feel everyone who's adopted AI will be at least 500x of their own productivity. So this is what I
500x.
see. Yeah, at least if
Right.
you are pro with AI.
Correct, correct, correct. No, very well
So
said. And just like that, we are at the end of a truly power-packed conversation. And I must admit to all our amazing speakers, thank you for keeping it real, which was very important, real, reflective, and forward-looking. And
Thank
you
you.
didn't just brought in insight, you brought spark. That was very evident from the chat boards. It was pretty busy throughout the session. The screen today wasn't just vibrant in colors. I would say it was alive with ideas, energy, and a shared ambition to build the future differently. So at Open Innovator, this is what we live for, connecting brilliant minds across boundaries. And today was a perfect reminder for the real magic. And what's next? Some of you might ask. Let's not let this be a one good session. Let's keep this conversation alive and let prototype partnerships. Let's take, ideas of this virtual stage into the real world. And until we meet again, stay inspired, stay connected. And as we like to say here, let's keep building the future before someone else does. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank
We'll be
you.
in touch.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank
Have a
you.
great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a
Bye-bye.
great
See you,
evening.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.